Clubbox tickets. They added a surprising amount of strategies to the game. Right now we know about 3 Clubbox ticket events: breeding, hatching, and baking. So here's how to maximize your tickets for each event. If there's something I missed for one of them, it'll be in the pin comment. Starting off with breeding. It's by far the simplest. You breed something that takes a long time, you get the most points. So it's really just figuring out which monster takes the longest. So I've got the answers. This isn't counting variants or seasonal since they aren't always available, but here are the 5 best monsters to breed on each island. The monsters with green text can be bred with a 100% chance, while the ones in blue only have a chance to be bred. Now, you may have noticed, I left Mythical Island and Sugarbush Island off the list. That's because their breeding works differently. The best combination on Sugarbush Island is Sugarbush and Mammy, since you want Sugarbush for the full 140 points. Mythical is the exact opposite, where you don't want Catalyst. Unfortunately, there isn't a short way to guarantee a Mythical like on Sugarbush, so your best bet's Catalyst and Anglo. The way to guarantee the quads on the natural islands and Magical Sanctum is to breed them with their rare counterpart. If you don't have them, which I definitely understand for a certain rare quad, then just do the next best one on the list. However, on the Fire and Magical Islands, there's a breeding combination that nearly guarantees a quad. It's not 100%, but it is a very high chance. On Fire Haven, it's Tring and Stog, and on Fire Oasis, it's Snizer and Fangler. On the Magical Islands, it's even easier to remember. It's the quad and the natural double. So Bloat and Furcorn on Light, Gloptic and Octopus on Psychic, Platy and Drumpler on Fairy, and Pikachu and Flog on Bone. Half of these have a 30-minute fail time, so there isn't really a risk for those two. The other two have a fail time of 6 hours, so if you really don't want to gamble, then just do the next best on the list. But the chance is very high that it's a quad, so you might as well. Now for hatching. This is the exact same as the breeding on some islands, but very different for others. Before I say which islands are the same, it's worth noting that neither Ethereal Workshop nor the Ethereal Islands count towards your hatch points. For some reason. The islands that remain the same are Sugarbush, Ethereal, Mythical, Sanctum, Shanty, and Carnival. If a breeding island wasn't in that group, that means there's more to it. Starting off with the Natural and Fire Islands. Rare Wubbox is absolutely insane. 1 star power for 240 points. Although, you can only incubate 1 at a time. If you have 2 nurseries, you have 2 options for what to put in the second one. If you can afford it, a common Wubbox is the best option. But if you can't, then incubating one of the top monsters from the previous list is the best way to go. Although if you're on a Fire Island, the Quints are actually better than Wubbox, which leads me to why I didn't mention the Magical Islands. If they are available, the Fire expansion monsters are the best option on the Fire and Magical Islands. The rares in particular are amazing, but they're expensive. There's also teleporting, which I wouldn't recommend since you can breed on most of the islands. But there's 2 you can, Magical Nexus and the Coliseum. The Coliseum is useful for something! Hooray! The best thing to do with this is to teleport whenever you hatch from Ethereal Island, because then you just get its hatching score twice. And on Magical Nexus, if you can actually afford it, this is also a good option, since it adds 18 hours to whatever you put in. The lowest amount of points you can get from teleporting something is 80, so yeah, that's pretty good. But again, you have to account for... Now for baking. This is the most straightforward. Do not use Big Salad. Cake gives the exact same amount of points for half the price. But don't use that either. The way to see what the best food for this is the points given divided by the price. And the best is... oh, bread. So you have to redo it every 30 minutes. Yeah, so if you're insane, bread is the best one to do here. But if you don't want to go back into the game every 30 minutes, pizza or pie is probably the best one to do. Now I might as well add the seasonal snacks to this too, since you'll be able to consistently get them on like the rares. And the best is... still bread. Okay. This is subject to change. Dumplings had a huge rework last Crescendo Moon that made it way better, which also immediately outdated the ranking in the seasonal video, but shut up. So if there's any more changes to the seasonal snacks, which I think there's a very high probability of that happening to at least 2 of them, then that'll be in the pinned comment, as well as anything else I may have forgotten. That's it. Hope it helps. Bye.